Today we're going to be talking about what 68 Whiskey AIT was like for me back when I went through, and kind of like how it's changed a little bit here and there, and what you can expect should you be getting ready to go through 68 Whiskey Combat Medic AIT. But without further ado, let's get to it. What is up, guys? Ben Allen back again with another video, and like I just said, we're gonna be talking about what 68 Whiskey AIT was like for me when I went through, and possibly what it could be like for you guys should y'all be ready to go through 68 Whiskey AIT, right? For those of you that don't know me, I did 4 years active duty. I did that up until September 2019, got out, joined the reserves, been in the reserves now for about a year and a half, so I have that active duty knowledge, that reserve knowledge. If you have any questions whatsoever, the best possible place to reach me is on my Instagram at Ben_Allen175. Follow me, shoot me a question. I'll try to get back to you within like a week. I have a Twitch also, that'll be linked down below if you just want to see me play video games. I do Pokemon, Legend of Zelda, all that fun stuff. Be sure to give this video a big old thumbs up. It really does help out our video. We're trying to hit 100K followers here on YouTube in the next 6 months, so I need y'all's help. Hit the subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds. Thank you. I appreciate it. And with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump straight into the video. Alright, so jumping straight into the topic, my time at 68 Whiskey AIT was pretty interesting, not gonna lie. It was like a mix of like, still having that army feel, but also with like a hint of like college thrown in there. It was definitely challenging to say the least, especially if you didn't study. If you didn't study, bro, good luck. AIT is definitely gonna be challenging because you're learning so much, right? Pretty much like day one, you get there, you either rode a bus there from basic or you took a flight, right? You get there, your cadre, your drill sergeants, because you have drill sergeants now, pick you up, and it's kind of like a mini in-processing again, like kind of like reception was. And so you're going through this like reception. It's kind of like, oh, let me see your paperwork, you got your orders, putting you here, whatever, all that fun stuff, right? And we did get smoked, right? Contrary to popular belief, I remember in basic, we're like, nah, AIT's chill, bro. It's like 100% like college. They don't smoke you anymore. We were wrong, bro. We got smoked. Luckily, we had learned from our smoking sessions in basics, so I put my lighter stuff in one of my duffel bags and I put my heavier stuff in a different duffel bag. So when we had to lift our duffel bags over our heads, I just picked up the lighter one, right? Because working smarter, not harder is a thing, right? If you can do it, if you can work smarter, not harder, definitely do it, right? Get the job done a lot faster and you're good, right? You've already been smoked, you know what it's like. There's really no point in getting smoked again. So that was like in processing. We did that. We got assigned our rooms, our roommates. I remember we were fortunate enough to get roommates. A few companies after us, they had bays, so very unfortunate for them, but I think they're back to roommates now. So if you guys got roommates at AIT, that's awesome. You guys are definitely lucky. So that's kind of like the whole like beginning stages of AIT, and for me, you're a little nervous, but you're also not that nervous because chances are some people that were with you in basic came with you to AIT, so you already got some friends, you know some people, and you usually kind of like click up, you stick together, and you're just like, okay, cool, this is where we need to be, this is what we got to do. Hey, who's your roommate, blah blah blah. They usually do it alphabetically, so keep that in mind. Don't be thinking you're gonna have the last name Alvarado and be like roommates with like Zaragoza or something. It's probably gonna be like A's with A's, B's with B's, C's, and all that type of stuff. So moving on to PT, right? PT, we actually woke up earlier in AIT to do PT as opposed to basic training. Basic training, I remember waking up at like 5:30 and we were doing PT, getting all that stuff out of the way. We were like at the DFAC by like 7:30ish, 8ish, right? But no, AIT, we were up, like wake up was 4:30 and we had to go be down there for formation at like 5, I believe, and we were just doing PT from like 5 to 6:30 maybe, and then we got some time to go back to our room, shower, get ready for the day, and then come back down to our little CTA area with our assault packs, everything ready to go to march down to the chow hall and then to go to our classrooms for the day, right? And the classrooms, honestly, honestly, this is like make it or break it, because they're going to be teaching you very valuable information, you know, that's going to later certify you in your job to become a 68 whiskey. So you definitely have to pay attention. And when I say classrooms, I mean, like, you know, you do your EMT phase first, then you go on to the 68 whiskey phase. The EMT phase is very important, right? It's taught by civilians, usually, at least that's how it was for us. And, you know, they're going through CPR, they're going through the Nremt stuff. You're taking like a test every single week, like sometimes 2 tests a week. It's definitely a lot to learn. They're packing it in there, and you have to study. You're going to be tempted, right? With COVID going on, you know, they haven't been letting people off base, but, you know, as that lifts up, right, could change, right? You'd be able to go off base on the weekends like we were able to, because I went back through in like 2015, 2016-ish, and it was fun, right? We got to go off base on the weekends, you know, have fun with our battle buddies, all that type of stuff, but you really had to like balance that work-life relationship, because you have to study. If you're not studying, you're not going to be passing these tests. If you fail 2 tests, you're getting recycled. If you fail again in the next company that you get recycled to, you're getting reclassed. You don't want to get reclassed, because chances are they're just going to give you the jobs that are available and not jobs that you want, right? So studying is very important, especially during this EMT phase, right? Because all these tests, try to remember the questions also, because these tests, they pretty much just take all the tests you've taken and they put it together, all the questions, and that's like your final, right? So these 100 questions on the final are just questions you've seen before on the past test that you've taken. So if you have a good memory, chances are it's going to be a piece of cake for you going through this final, right? Once you pass the final, you know, you're doing like your individual skills validations. This is where you're doing like your medical assessment. You're doing a few other things, right, that are required, you know, to be tested on for the Nremt. This is like the practical hands-on exercises, right? You're going to also have individual skills for the whiskey phase as well. So these are very important to pay attention to. I recommend getting hands-on as much as you can, because if you're going through the muscle memory, you're getting it down packed, you're going to be fine. Like, I remember like just the practice made permanent. Like every time we were practicing, like we had a study hall on the weekends. I recommend going to those. Or if you have like a student council in AIT, recommend to your chain of command, right? Hey, can we get a study hall together? Can we like go on the weekends, get any of the instructors that would want to be available to just open up, you know, and have like the dummies ready so we can practice? I do recommend that because it helped us out. It could definitely help you guys out, get more hands-on and become more comfortable with your skills, right? And then once you do your skills, you're also taking the actual Nremt, right? It's a computer-generated test. It's an adaptive test, meaning it's going based off of your skill level, right? So if you're sucking, chances are it's probably going to give you like, you know, a little bit easier questions just to kind of like balance you out, get you averaged out. But if you're doing really good, it might be giving you harder questions. Some people get stopped at 70 questions, 75 questions. Some people get stopped at 120 questions. Really what we saw was there was really no correlation between if you got stopped at 120 or if you got stopped at 70 or 75, because it was all over the place. People that got stopped at 120 were still passing. People that got stopped at 75 were failing, vice versa. So it's hit or miss, really. If you go in there confident, knowing that you studied, and number one tip, honestly, is what I did, and I'm glad I went to sick call a few days before our Nremt. I was there and I overheard another soldier from a company that was ahead of us, and they had just taken the Nremt, talking about how the Nremt is pretty much just, you know, oxygen and transport, as well as just sticking in the order of your assessment. You're going to be taught an assessment, right? And as long as you stick in that order, chances are you can rule out a lot of the answers on the Nremt and get to the right one that you need that's correct. So that was very valuable. That's what I applied to the Nremt, and I passed my first try. I had nightmares about that thing because we took it on a Friday. We weren't going to know until Monday. I was waking up in sweats. I was so nervous about failing this test. And I remember on Monday, the instructor was like messing with people, bro. People were crying, the ones that failed. He was like, oh yeah, better luck next time. He said that to me. I was like, oh no, son of a bitch, bro. But he's just messing, and I passed, and I was like, oh, thank God. But that's pretty much the Nremt REMT portion, right? For us, it's just a lot of studying. For me, anyways, I'm very meticulous. I like highlight the shit out of my book, everything. There was a bunch of study apps. If you want apps that I use specifically to study for the NREMT, let me know. I'll drop some links down below for you guys. Just comment NREMT apps or 68 Whiskey apps, whatever you want. And once you pass NREMT phase, right, EMT phase for 68 Whiskey AIT, you move on to the Whiskey phase. Whiskey phase is kind of like your bread and butter, right? You know, you're a combat medic. This is where you're learning your drags, your carries, all these different types of like trauma interventions. You're doing the tourniquet, doing your trauma assessment. You're literally more outside than inside, depending on the weather, right? But if it ain't raining, you ain't training. And you're doing a lot of combat casualty assessments, bro. I'm telling you, on your battle buddies, you're doing IV after IV after IV. You're doing MPA after MPA. It is non-stop hands-on trauma assessments. Literally, I'm telling you. You'll do like individual days where you're learning the individual skills for the trauma assessment. You're like learn the MPA, you know, the chest seal, and then you put that all together, and then you usually do groups of 3. One person's a casualty, one person's security, the other person is just, you know, like the helper. It's crazy. No, one person's a medic, my bad. And you're going through these, working with each other, cycling through for hours on end in Whiskey phase. I remember having a lot of fun in Whiskey phase, but it also got really repetitive, and that's kind of the point. Simply because, you know, the more you practice these skills, the better you're going to be for once you actually test out. Because in order to pass, you know, 68 Whiskey AIT, you get tested on a trauma assessment, right? You're doing a whole lane, start to finish, security, you know, and moving to cover, all that stuff. It's crazy. It's fun. I had a blast doing it, and it was just a good time. But it was very nerve-wracking because you know, you're doing this and you're just kind of like going through and you're like, oh my god, did I miss a step? Because there's certain things on the trauma assessment that if you miss, they're like critical criteria and they can automatically fail you. So you don't want to end up missing something that's super important. So you got to be very meticulous. You got to go through your steps and all that fun stuff. And my number one piece of advice when doing these trauma assessments is go through the order that you're taught, right? Whether you're doing HABCs, you're doing March. If you don't know what those are, it's the steps you go on, right? You're gonna do hemorrhaging, you're gonna do airway, breathing, circulation in specific orders, right? And if you stick to the orders that you're taught, right, they can't mess with you, really, because if you're working on, you know, airway, right, and they're throwing you stuff that would be done in circulation, you're not going to be worrying about the circulation right now. You're worried about the airway. Can this guy breathe? Is he getting oxygen, right? Because you need oxygen to breathe and, you know, pretty much live, right? So if you stick in the order that you're taught and don't get sidetracked when these instructors are throwing you different injuries left and right, you're gonna be fine. Like, literally, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. That's what I always kept telling myself in AIT when going through these assessments, and it really helped me out. I thought I butchered my CCA at Camp Bullis, but I passed my first try. It was great. It felt good, but like bad at the same time, because, you know, there's always a little bit of self-doubt there, at least with me anyway. It's just how I've always been, but I've always passed my first try. It's just always that worry that's constantly there for me. And so once you move on from Whiskey phase, you have this culminating event, right? It's called Camp Bullis. This is where you're going. For us, it was 2 weeks. We were there for 2 weeks. I've spoken recently to a few 68 Whiskeys. I think they shortened it. I'm not 100% sure. They could have put it back to 2 weeks, right? But it's a 2-week culminating event, and I say 2 weeks lightly, right? It could be a week and a half or like a week of just like doing patrols. You're out there with the Bullis instructors. They're teaching you how to do the patrol day. You have the moulage day. Everybody's dressed up in like blood and guts and all that. You have to like treat these injuries. You have like a mount day. It's pretty good. Like, you go through buildings and you treat casualties in there. You're learning a variety of different skills and interventions, and then you know, like close to the last day or the second to last day, like everybody's getting tested on different things, like, you know, on certain days, right? The whole first week is like the crawl and then the walk phase. They're teaching you, showing you what right looks like, and then the last week is the run. You're hitting the ground, you're getting tested on all these different things, right? And you know, you get tested on your trauma assessment. This is your bread and butter, right? You're a combat medic. You're expected to be good at this. This is your stuff, right? And so you're getting tested out on this. People are nervous, people are crying because they fail. If you fail, don't worry, you get to retry. If you fail to retry, then you get like recycled. It's a big thing, right? A lot of nerves, tensions are high. You definitely want to do good. And so once you finish Camp Bullis, right, you head back to your base, you know, your Fort Sam Houston, Joint Base San Antonio, all that stuff. You go back to your company, turning in the rubber duckies. You know, you're doing last minute stuff pretty much. You're turning in your aid bags because you're graduating like a week or a few days, just depending on how the schedule was, right? We graduated not too long after Camp Bullis. It was like a few days after, and then you're off to your first duty station, right? But that's a video for a different time, talking about your first duty station. But this was like AIT in general. That's like a brief overview. My time was great. Now that we hit on all the curriculum, the teaching aspects of AIT, just the friendships, right? The free time, right? Because you guys are gonna be wondering, like, oh, what about free time? Like, can I go to the gym? All that stuff. So yeah, we were able to go to the gym. Once you hit like phase 4, you're able to, like, you know, walk across to the little PX that's across where you guys train. You can go to the gym. You're given a little more freedom, right? As you progress through AIT, you go to phase 5, then phase 5 plus. These allow you additional freedoms, right? I believe phase 5, we were able to go off base on the weekends, right? We were able to go to the mall, to the zoo, pretty much whatever you wanted to do on the weekends you could, as long as you weren't drinking, smoking, getting tattoos, or doing any tobacco products or anything that goes against the TRADOC violation. So don't be thinking, oh bro, I'm just gonna get drunk off base, they're never gonna know I'll be sober. We had a lot of people get dropped because they got caught doing that stuff, so I do not recommend doing that. If you do, you know, hey, be safe, have a battle buddy, somebody's going to be there. Let's be honest, right? Like, people are people, they're going to do whatever they're going to want to do, and they're going to try and push the limits with what they can get away with. If you're doing that, I just be safe, right? You don't want to ruin your chances at becoming a medic and just ruin your chances of, you know, graduating and being in the Army. That's just my 2 cents on that. But yeah, we got to go to the SAC also. It's a soldier activity center. They put on a lot of events for the soldiers there. They have video games, pool tables, all that. Highly recommend it. If you don't feel like going off base, you can go to the SAC. It's there. It's just like right across from like where the schoolhouse is, where you guys are taught Emt Phase and Whiskey Phase. And it was a good time, bro. Like, I do recommend try not to get into a relationship if you're in AIT, just because you should be focused on your studies. We had a lot of people, like, you know, hooking up, getting together in our AIT. It was definitely something to see because, you know, some of these people were married, they had kids, but I mean, they were doing them, whatever, right? You know, to each their own, pretty much, right? Just don't get caught. I mean, fraternization's a thing. You don't want to do that. But also, like, people did have lifelong relationships, and they're like, I still know 2 people today that are married and they met in AIT. But overall, AIT for me was a good experience. Like I said, it was challenging because, you know, a lot of studying was involved. I don't really like to study, but I know I have to if I want to pass the stuff. I had a fun time on the weekends with my friends, met a lot of great people that I'm still friends with today. My roommate, we were in the same AIT, and we were roommates for like the past 5-6 years. But yeah, it was a good time. And maybe you guys will have a great time there as well, but really do focus on your studies. I know this was a little long-winded video, but I feel like it was fun just to share my experience with you and just an overall view of what you could possibly expect. If you guys want more in-depth things about AIT, let me know in the comment section. I'll try to make it happen for you guys. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. Again, be sure to like this video. It really helps us out. We're trying to hit 100K subscribers in the next 6 months. So take 2 seconds to hit that button, whether you're a future 68 Whiskey, you're a future soldier in the United States Army, whatever it may be. I have a video for almost every topic you could possibly think of in the Army and 68 Whiskey content. If you're getting ready to go to 68, I have a whole playlist going over the skill validations that, you know, can definitely help you out. I have a Twitch as well that'll be linked down in the description. It's just PokebenTM. We do Pokemon games, Zelda games, all that fun stuff. Instagram is the best possible place to reach me. It's at Ben_Allen175. Shoot me a follow, send me a DM. I'll try to get back to you within a week. And yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.